Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Quilter Chris. My name is Kristen and I am so glad you're here. So today we're going to talk about something that I made, obviously, and how I use this to solve an issue I had. So this past week I have been working on finishing up the Designer Mystery 2025 block of the month, and I realized I didn't have anywhere to really iron a full-on quilt, right? So I have this here where I'm sitting. I've showed you all this before, where I made like a cutting and ironing station here that works great for blocks and even rows. But for a quilt, anything bigger than a baby quilt, it doesn't really work, and it's not really great using my full-size iron. So what am I to do? Well, for the past 15 years before I moved here, I had a large cutting table. So we had made out of two Jimenez IKEA dressers. We had put them together back to back, and then taken a piece of thick plywood and covered that with batting, ironing board fabric, and then a canvas on top. And I switched out the canvas about every year or so, and I used that for an ironing board table for many years. It went through many moves. We originally bought it in Salt Lake City, Utah. We took it to Maryland, to Pennsylvania, but when we went to go take it apart in Pennsylvania, we noticed the back was completely falling out. The drawers had been falling out. We had been moving it for 15 years. It wasn't going to work. And I thought, well, I have two rooms. Like, I had space I could have put it, but I really, it's worn out. I think maybe it's time for it to go. So when we got here, I actually really loved the setup that I have here with this room I'm in now. And it's kind of my sewing piecing room. It'll be my work from home office if I go back to work. And then upstairs I have the long arm and my industrial and all of that. I like that setup. But this room is small. It's smaller than our bedrooms. And so there's not really a place for me to put a cutting table and still have room to walk around, especially if I'm going to have like my office over here. So what to do? Well, I have a really big kitchen in this house. I really wanted a big kitchen. I like to can. I do like to cook, all of that. And I wanted a big kitchen. And this kitchen has a really big island. And so I haven't cooked anything recently because it's been really hot. So I haven't done a lot of baking or canning or anything. Plus, we've just moved. So that'll probably be something that I do next summer. But in the meantime, we use the island in the kitchen. But in the meantime, I can use it another way. And I decided I could use that as an ironing surface. It also works as a big cutting surface. It's the same size as my two Jimenez dressers were before, because it holds my two big gray cutting mats. So I also have our old dining table upstairs it's round though, so it really just holds the one cutting mat, but it works great. So I made an ironing pad to fit this island. And so this is what I'm going to show you today. And I took pictures as I went along. I didn't take a lot of video, but I'll show you the pictures that I took. So what I did, so this is just a sample. I'll show you what I made. What I did was I went to my fabric stash and I looked to see if I had any really big pieces of fabric. I didn't care if they were ugly or not. I just wanted, it didn't need to be beautiful. It just needed to be functional. So I went to go look to see if I had any big pieces of fabric. I did. I also had the scrap batting that had not been used, that had been in my my ironing cover before. Like, this is a small piece of that plywood and it's got some of it in it. And so I used that batting because it was untouched. I had put 2 layers of batting and I had saved it and it looked brand new. So I saved that batting. So here's what I did just in a small sample. This is a heat batting. So I got this on Amazon. And I can put the links down below if you all are interested. It's kind of like, I think they call it Wrap and Zap. It's similar to that. You might use these if you make those like soup bowl holders or pot holders or something like that. On Amazon, you can purchase it in 1, 2, or 3 yard bundles. I got a 3 yard bundle just to make sure I had enough. So I took this and then regular batting, and then I made a backing. And so I put it together like this, and then I had the fabric on top. Then I took it to my long arm, and on my long arm I use poly thread. I use a thread called Glide. If you do embroidery, you might be familiar with it. It's a poly thread. It's the weight I used for this project is 40 weight. It moves really smooth through there. And then I just long armed the whole thing, and I did the binding on it. And so when I laid it out, I was worried it would shift. So what did I do for that? So also on Amazon, you can find the non-slip rug mats. They're kind of a plasticky sort of texture, a little bit different than like wrapping plastic. It's like a gripper, like the old kind of shelf liner. So, and you could use shelf liner instead. So I got that rug mat. I got a small one, so I think it was like maybe $10. It was $25 for 3 yards, so I have some left over. And then the other batting I had was scrap batting, and then I used fabric that I had and binding that I had. When I went to go bind it, I pulled out my scrap binding wheel. It ended up that I already had some pre-made right here on my binding wheel. So yeah, what is that? Necessity is the mother of invention. So now I can iron my quilt top on there, and when I'm all done, I just roll it up and store it away until the next time I want to use it. That's underneath the quilt here. Mine is not sewn on, it's separate. You could go around and maybe hand sew it. I also maybe could have added it on the backing and quilted it on there. I didn't want to do any of that because I would, if this rug gripper didn't work or it got kind of melty or anything, I didn't want it to be attached to the top. It does not though. What I found is that, so this is here, and then you have your batting, and then you have the heat resistant, and then the fabric. And so what I found is when you iron on top of this, this gets warm, and then underneath this stays cool. I don't know if that's from the stone on my cabinet. I don't know if it's just because this works so great at reflecting the heat. I'm not 100% sure, but it works. Now, should you do this? I would check and see what kind of cabinets you have. Mine are like a stone quartz. Heat wouldn't hurt it, but ironing on it wouldn't be great. The iron directly on it could hit it, chip it, just not a great thing. So I hope you love seeing this, and let me know what sort of things you all have invented and made because you had a need. I would love to see it.